Students who are learning physics as a subject, you should know these things. That's why. They are natural disasters, I know, but the physics behind that, there's a physics part behind that. So what has happened is, I think you might have heard news, and you might have heard these words in news these days very frequently as a low pressure zone, depression, right? So likewise, there were several technical terms used by them, cyclones, right? And this is how it happens. Now, usually, there are winds circulating around the country. But due to the change of wind patterns, sometimes low pressure zones are created. Low pressure zones are created by the wind itself, right? Now, this time what has happened is, now actually it was happened yesterday, Thursday, right? The latter part of Wednesday on Thursday, there was a low pressure zone created on top of our country with the wind patterns. Somewhere around here, a low pressure zone was created. A low pressure zone. Right? So we know from fluid statics, from fluid dynamics and fluid statics, we know always a fluid flows from high pressure to low pressure. What is a fluid? Fluid is any gas or liquid. So any gas or liquid flows from high pressure to low pressure. Around this, they are comparatively high pressures now. So therefore, all the wind is going to flow towards the low pressure zone from the high pressures. So that is why wind blow means there is a wind. So that is why we experience heavy winds these days. Heavy winds, because from high pressure to low pressure, all winds are coming now. All the winds are coming from all around the Indian Ocean, right? So therefore, heavy winds occurs. First thing is heavy winds. And then what happens is, when the wind comes from these areas which are on top of the ocean, above the ocean, on top of means above the ocean, when the wind flows from the areas above the ocean, that wind is highly rich with water vapor particles, because that is above sea level now, that is above sea now. So therefore, due to vaporization, those winds are very much rich with water vapor. So therefore, what we are getting to this low pressure zone is a rich wind with water vapor. So there's a very high amount of water vapor comes along with the wind. When water vapor comes, what happens is, in this particular area, the amount of water vapor increases. When amount of water vapor increases, it creates rainy clouds. Then when it creates rainy clouds, what happens is, water vapor becomes condensed and it becomes water, right? When water vapor becomes condensed, we discuss this in hygrometry, in thermal physics, right? We have this part, and this wind flows from Bernoulli's equation, right? And condensing of water vapor is happening with hygrometry. So therefore, with the low temperatures, high concentration, water vapor condenses to water. Then it falls down as water droplets. That is how the rain happens. That is how the rain occurs. Now, the severity of this scenario here is, since we have a low pressure zone inside the country, all the winds around these areas, from all around areas, all the winds are now centralizing to our country, right? They are coming to the central point of the low pressure zone. That is called the epicenter of the cyclone, epicenter. We have this in waves. So therefore, Sri Lanka is very concentrated now with water vapor and water particles in the sky. So therefore, it causes heavy rainfall. Now this time for Madale, now the latest records are more than 500. It was 540 millimeters. When rain falls, now all the water is gathered to the rivers and streams and everywhere. And rivers run out of capacity. When rivers run out of capacity, because they have a given capacity, when rivers run out of capacity, it floods. So therefore, flash floods occur. The pressure is still in the process of decreasing. Now, initially it was a low pressure zone yesterday, and then by yesterday night, it was developed to develop to a depression zone. Depression zone means pressure is even less. Pressure is even less. And by today morning, the pressure was even further less, and now it's called a cyclone. Now, even though we don't have rain here, we can't say that we are not going to flood, because if the upstream of the river has got rainfall, then it comes downstream the river. So when it comes down the river, downstream the river, then all other low landing areas, low areas are also going to get affected. When rain falls heavily, all the stability of the land, soil is going to be affected. So that's how landslides occur. So if you need to check live data, you can check live feed here. So I'm checking this on two websites. This is one of the websites, the one I showed you before. By tomorrow, the situation will get kind of okay by tomorrow. But the damage done will remain for some time until the recoveries are done, right? Damage done is not going to recover overnight, no. So there's a damage done already, right? For most of the areas. Even if the rain stops, rain and storm will stop by tomorrow, right? But flooding is not going to stop. Help each other as much as you can, and let's go through this as a nation, as a country. Help each other and stay strong and stay safe, right? Let's start.